Hello to everyone. This is Viewpoint on Noyan Tapan TV, and I am Benyamin Poghosyan. Today we will discuss the developments in Armenia-Azerbaijan negotiation process. Currently, we have three tracks or platforms of negotiations: Moscow platform, Brussels platform, and Washington platform. Immediately after the end of Second Karabakh War in November 2020, it seemed that Russia monopolized the negotiation process between Armenia and Azerbaijan. US and France, the co-chairs of the OSCE Minsk group, they were elbowed out by the Russians. They didn't participate in elaboration of November 10 trilateral statement. Then Russia also organized two other summits between Armenian and Azerbaijan leaders, January 2021, November 2021, and it seems that Russia was the main dealer and driver in the negotiation process. However, the EU jumped in the process in late 2021, organizing the first summit between Armenian and Azerbaijan leaders in December 2021. And then this year, the EU facilitated the organization of three additional summits, April, May, and August 2022. Despite the fact that since February 2022, since the beginning of the Ukraine war, Russia-EU relations have significantly deteriorated, Russia did not concern very much about this ongoing EU involvement in the negotiation process. Probably Russia saw that EU is genuinely interested in the stability in the South Caucasus and does not view its involvement in the negotiation process through only the geopolitical lenses, to decrease Russian influence in the region or even to kick out Russia from the South Caucasus. The thing started to change in September 2022 when United States inserted itself in the negotiation process. Currently, we see US as a driving force behind negotiations, with several summits between Armenian and Azerbaijani foreign ministers held in Washington last on November 7, and also the meeting between the Secretary of the Security Council of Armenia, Armen Grigoryan, and the top foreign policy aide to President Aliyev, Hikmet Hajiyev. So, it's very difficult, of course, to assess if really we have three different versions of peace agreement, but definitely there are three different views on how Armenia-Azerbaijan relations should develop further. The first view, this is the Russian view, which argues that yes, Armenia and Azerbaijan should move towards peace. Peace agreement should be signed, the communication should be opened, which will allow Armenia to reach Russia and Iran via Azerbaijan, which will allow Azerbaijan to reach Turkey via Armenia, and which will allow Russia to reach Turkey via Azerbaijan and Armenia. However, Russia believes that the issue of Nagorno-Karabakh should be postponed. The status of Nagorno-Karabakh should not be discussed and agreed upon now, and this should be dealt by the next generations. This was very clearly stated by the Russian ambassador in Armenia. There is a second version, so-called comprehensive approach, which is facilitated by the European Union. What does it mean, comprehensive approach? It means that all issues should be dealt within one agreement. However, the EU believes that if there are no chances that Armenia and Azerbaijan may agree on the status of Nagorno-Karabakh, then maybe Nagorno-Karabakh issue should not be part of the peace agreement, but something else. Another document may be signed between Armenia and Azerbaijan to deal with Nagorno-Karabakh. And from the European point of view, as far as there is no agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan on the status of Nagorno-Karabakh, international military presence should be kept in the Nagorno-Karabakh to provide security guarantees to the Nagorno-Karabakh Armenians. So from this point of view, the EU believes that if no Armenia-Azerbaijan agreement on the final status of Nagorno-Karabakh, then most probably Russian peacekeepers should continue their services in Nagorno-Karabakh beyond November 2025. And also there are so-called Washington version or American perceptions, despite the fact that US authorities flatly denied that there are any peace agreement draft elaborated by Americans, but definitely there are serious discussions, and if US has no peace agreement draft, at least US have some views. And according to the US views, as far as we may understand from the publicly discussed options, interviews, and available information, the US believes that Armenia and Azerbaijan should sign a peace agreement. Probably Nagorno-Karabakh should not be there. Probably Armenia should recognize Karabakh as a part of Azerbaijan, but Americans will work with Azerbaijani authorities seeking to provide some guarantees to Nagorno-Karabakh Armenians. The problem here is for Armenia is not only the fact that there are this free version of peace agreement, or at least free perceptions of on what basis or on what principles peace agreement should be based, but the main problem is that currently we have the ongoing war between Russia and the West, and in particular with Russia and the United States. So simultaneously being involved in negotiations both in Washington, in Moscow and in Brussels, both Armenia and Azerbaijan advertently or inadvertently inserted Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia-Azerbaijan relations issue into this general debate of Russia-US or Russia-West confrontation, or Russia-US and Russia-West war. And definitely this makes more complications for Armenia, because at least from the Russian perspective, and probably also from the US perspective, everything is perceived through the geopolitical lenses. So from the US, the key is how to decrease Russian influence in any area of the world, including the South Caucasus, while the Russia believes that any involvement of United States is against the Russian vital interest. Simultaneously, we have another problem, that there are different layers of negotiations. Summits between leaders, meetings between ministers of foreign affairs, then discussions between Secretary of Security Council of Armenia and top foreign policy aide to Azerbaijani president. Then we have the trilateral Armenia-Azerbaijan-Russia Commission chaired by Deputy Prime Ministers on restoration of communications. And finally, the fifth layer, we have the bilateral Commission on border delimitation and demarcation, which held its third meeting on November 3rd in Brussels. So these different layers, 5 different layers, and 3 different mediators, the EU, Russia and US, which also are in steep confrontation, and when we speak about Russia-US relations, maybe we can use also the term of war, they are in war. This really complicates situation and does not bode well for any future peace agreement. So what can be done? Obviously also we have the blackmail of Azerbaijan, who clearly threatens that if no peace agreement signed until end of this year, or at least at the very early 2023, then most probably Azerbaijan will resume large-scale hostilities against Armenia, or probably against Nagorno-Karabakh, or against both Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh, somewhere in spring 2023. So in the current circumstances, first of all, Armenia should do everything trying to push out or pull out Armenia-Azerbaijan negotiations in Nagorno-Karabakh conflict as another battlefield of US-Russia proxy war. Definitely this will not bring any benefits neither to Armenia nor to Azerbaijan. Of course, it's very difficult to do this, but in any case, some effort should be done towards this direction. And second, maybe there is a sense to try to unite these 5 different layers of negotiation, and maybe have comprehensive summits when both prime ministers, ministers of foreign affairs, the deputy prime ministers, and members of this Restoration of Communications Commission and Bilateral Border Delimitation and Demarcation Commission will participate. This at least will create the mutual understanding what achievements and what obstacles are in these different layers. So the Armenia-Azerbaijan negotiation process continues. Unfortunately, it becomes more and more involved in general Russia-West and Russia-US confrontation, which makes any solutions less and less likely. This is all for today, and we will meet soon.